we were talking in a video about how I believe that there should be an age cap on serving in Congress. There has to come a certain point where you are kind of forced into retirement, mandatory retirement, like they do in the military, like they do with air traffic controllers and frontline workers, whatever, all of that shit. There should the same rules should apply to members of Congress. And this person says, "Amen. Forced retirement at 68 max." I would make it 65. I would make it 65 and you can no longer serve. And I don't give a shit if you just got into politics at the age of 60. 65 and you're out the door. I don't care if you are of sound mind. I don't care if you are of sound body. There are people at 65 who are not. There are people at 65 who should have who have no business being in Congress. And that's the number I would like to see it set at, right? 65 years old. At 65, you're done. A lot of people say that they want term limits. I'm not in favor of term limits. I'll do another video on that, why I'm not in favor of term limits. I've done them in the past. I'll do another video on it. But 65. If you serve in the Senate, you serve in the House of Representatives, you serve as President of the United States, 65 and you're done. And I would dare say that should cross over into judicial appointments. Not just the Supreme Court, but lifetime federal judicial appointments. Do we really want an 82-year-old judge on the bench trying to interpret the laws of this land, the Constitution? No. And it's not ageism. It's not. I'm 52. I don't think people my age in general should be running for Congress. I think that there should be younger people who are actually going to be affected long term by the legislation that they put forth, be the ones making the legislation. We were talking about this because Mitch McConnell fell. He's 82 or whatever the case may be. I think it's 82. He fell at a Republican luncheon, and then Nancy Pelosi, Nancy McConnell, might as well be. Nancy Pelosi was in Luxembourg and she fell and was hospitalized, and she's like 84. And it's like, these people have no business being in Congress. They just don't. And this is not a left-right thing. I don't give a fuck if you have an R next to your name, a D next to your name, or an I next to your name. It doesn't fucking matter. Mitch McConnell should not be serving. Nancy Pelosi should not be serving. Chuck Grassley should not be serving. Chuck Schumer should not be serving. Dianne Feinstein should not be serving. What's the one up in fucking Maine? The Republican up in Maine. I forget her name now. Susan Collins. She should not be serving. Bernie Sanders should not be serving. Who's the one out in California? It's going to aggravate the fuck out of me now. She should not. A good chunk of the people that are currently serving in Congress should not be serving. It's got nothing to do with ageism. It's got to do with the reality of the situation. These people aren't even going to be around long enough to be affected by the bills they're putting forth. They are clinging to power. And the boomers and the silent generation have held on to the levers of power for the entirety of my life. So much so that the Gen X people have not even had a chance to sit at the table. And they probably won't, and that's fine. It should skip over us. It should go from the boomers and the silent generation folks that have held the levers of power for generations right over Gen X and be handed to the millennials and the Gen Zs. This is their country now. And yeah, 65 is where I would put it. 65 and you're done, no matter what.